I'm Brittany Lewis with Forbes Breaking News. Senator Sheldon Whitehouse spoke with Martha Williams, the director of the Fish and Wildlife Service, at a Senate Environment Committee hearing. The Rhode Island Democrat asked about how carbon emissions are heating up the oceans and whether the service was addressing the issue. Whitehouse has been outspoken about combating climate change, and his state faces existential threats from sea level rise. Take a listen to their discussion.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Senator Renoff. Senator Whitehouse, and then followed by Senator Kramer. And if she's able to return, Senator Ernst would be next. Senator Whitehouse.
Welcome, Director Williams. Thank you for being here back in front of the committee. It's good to see you. I wanted to talk to you for a moment about zettajoules. A joule, as you know, Joule, is the unit of measure of heat energy. And a zettajoule is that measure with 21 zeros behind it. It's a really, really, really big number with 21 zeros behind it. And it's so big that to give it a more concrete example, the entire energy use and consumption of the human species on the entire planet adds up to 1/2 of a zettajoule. So our fossil fuel energy is less than 1/2 of a zettajoule because it's less than 1/2 of all of our energy production and consumption. For the price of that less than half zettajoule of human energy production, we have created an environment in which we are dumping 14 zettajoules, so like 30 times as much heat, into our oceans. It's the equivalent of setting off multiple Hiroshima-sized atomic bombs in our ocean every single second. It's warming at a colossal geologic level. And we're not paying anywhere near enough attention to what this means for our oceans. But with that kind of upheaval happening in the oceans, it makes it increasingly important that the Fish and Wildlife Service pay adequate attention to what is going on to saltwater fish and ocean wildlife, as opposed to just freshwater fish and terrestrial wildlife. So I'd like to ask you what you are doing to make sure that in light of that kind of change happening in our marine environments, your organization will continue to expand its focus on saltwater fish and coastal and marine environments.
Mr. Chair and Senator Whitehouse, thank you for that question. And I have to say I share your concern about the unprecedented challenges facing our oceans and our coasts. And there are a number of different ways that the Fish and Wildlife Service, even through our 2023 budget request, have asked to increase and pay more attention to these issues. So we did request a $2.3 million increase for the coastal program. We also asked for a $2 million increase in the Coastal Barrier Resources Act. And on top of that, I would like to say I believe, are working very well and closely with our sister agency at NOAA and understand these shared responsibilities that we have on these unprecedented challenges. I would love to add to Senator Whitehouse that while we only flew in and out of your state, I was able to go to Connecticut with the secretary and see the benefit of restoration investment in saltwater, in salt marshes, and to see the intricate balance that we need to address. So those are just some examples, Senator, of where the Fish and Wildlife Service can help. But I'm always happy to work with you and talk about what else we can do to support and address this unprecedented challenge that's before us.
Good. Well, thank
in
you.
Zettajoules.
I think the daily temperature would probably be in the hundreds of degrees in our terrestrial states if it weren't for the ocean providing this enormous amount of cooling work that it's done to take some of the sharp edge off of the climate challenge. I think we're something like 90% of the excess heat that fossil fuels have generated for our planet have been actually absorbed by the ocean, so we don't experience them in the atmosphere. But the damage that causes to the oceans is profound, and it ought to send us a signal about the kind of damage we're doing to our planet by continuing to recklessly burn fossil fuels and creating these massive, massive upheavals in the basic operating systems upon which human life depends. Thank you.